the Trevor Jackson Podcast.
I used to be ugly, but now these bitches is Medusa. And guess what? I made you executive producer. Some extra G's, so when you come home you breathe.
They won't believe to see me come straight home to a V. Pigs pressing me, wanting autographs for they seeds. I got a CO thinking that we gon' fuck when I leave.
Your nigga think about this money. Fuck them hoes, we gon' throw a...
Found the weed out at one of the shows. You know, when that album came out, man, I was 19 years old, man. That was around the time that Nas had dropped the QB's Finest album. Capone N.O.R.E had dropped. That was kind of like the pinnacle for hip hop for me. And CNN was a group that represented the struggle. Capone at that time was one of my favorite rappers. I liked Capone more than I liked Noreaga. Even though Noreaga has become the superstar with Drink Champs and stuff, the reason I wanted to talk about this and acknowledge this podcast that he did with Memphis Bleak is because, you know, Capone is underrated. And he has some things to say about duos staying connected.
She legendary. You fucking kidding me, man? Yeah. Like, y'all careers include separation, you know what I mean? Solo success, reunions. What kept the connection between y'all so strong? Because a lot of groups break up. You know what I mean?
Shit.
Y'all broke up but never really broke up.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Every brothers have fights. All brothers have fights. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're from the same mother, you're from the same pop, or you're from a different body, you know how they go.
That's right.
Every family have feuds. But with us, what makes us dope is that his kids is my blood. Like, so he has something to stick to. Some people don't have nothing to stick to. They just lose touch and they just let it go. I can't do that.
That's right.
Because if I need a blood transfusion, his kids can literally give me blood.
That's right.
That's my blood family. So that makes us a lot of bit. So when we beefing, his mother be like, man, you better talk to that motherfucker.
That's right.
Grandma, you better talk to that motherfucker on the heart. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it just made us have to stick along. And we genuinely love each other.
Yeah.
No matter how much we fight, we met each other when we was kids.
Yeah.
And we knew each other for all our kids, all our ups and downs, all our deaths in our families, we knew each other for that.
That's real shit. That's real shit, man.
Fuck what we sold, fuck what we did. You know, I seen all those kids born. You seen all my kids born.
That's right, man.
Except one, already.
That's dope, because a lot of groups separate, man. Labels, groups, all that, man. But a lot of New York groups, I respect. Y'all all stuck together, man, like, for the most part. You know what I mean? Like, you look, Smith & Wesson, Mobb Deep, rest in peace, Prodigy. They were still dropping projects together, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Helter Skelter, rest in peace, Sean Price.
Crazy because a lot of people think like a two-man group is like easy.
Yeah.
And it's just as hard as Wu-Tang.
Yeah, because niggas was lazy.
He got his own manager. I got our own manager. He got his own management team. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it be. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, until like Chris Lighty, but then, you know, he can go do what he want. I can go do what I want. And then there's people.
You know, that's interesting about staying connected. And one thing I want to say about duos is that, you know, I've been a solo artist for 20 years now, plus 20 years. And I'm about to create a project that is like a debut project for me with a family member. And I'm excited about it. We're going to create a duo, me and my cousin Jack Boy. And I'm glad that it's family because we're connected forever regardless, because we're family. And we're close family at that. We're more like brothers than cousins. But when I think about duos and the duos that I specifically like, I liked when Havoc released the new Mobb Deep through Mass Appeal, and he highlighted his brother Prodigy. You know, duos have their problems though, but time heals all wounds, I feel like. And hip hop is a thing. Some people perceive it to be a job, or they want to be successful and financially stable from it, and we all will get our just due eventually, even if it's after life. But I like to see Capone and Noreaga, which they mentioned in this interview that they're going to collaborate and do another project. Salute to that. I like to see brothers like them, the Locks, You know, I like to see Bun B still talking about Pimp C, 8 Ball and MJG still collaborating. 8 Ball is coming to Charlotte. I think he's going to be here tomorrow debuting his book that he's supposed to release. And DUOS is just something that is interesting, man. But it was another take mentioned on this Memphis Bleak podcast that was said about their classic album. You know, their debut album was a classic. You know, The War Report. It's no doubt about it. They had great records on that project. They didn't have one bad record. And Capone said something that I didn't have knowledge of. And I want to break it down with y'all.
Up to the money ain't come until I'm leaving.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
that's
like
what
it made it.
So listen, what I'm
I didn't know that. Because coming of age, I went back to the block.
Listen what changed
I went back.
everything.
Yeah, I know.
This is what changed everything.
Yeah.
The N.O.R.E. album, right? Mm-hmm. It changed my life. You know why? Because I got locked up on the War Report album. And when the War Report album came out, they still didn't believe it was me. Because they didn't see none of my video.
That's right.
They didn't see me. They still like, that's not you. That's not
Wait,
you.
the can you say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the can. Because this is all I got.
Right.
That's right.
I got white cracker CEOs telling me that ain't you.
Yeah.
They're still kicking me in my ass. Get the fuck out of here. Right. So the N.O.R.E. album dropped, and MTV came into jail to see me. And at that point, it was only me and Tupac who had 2 fucking MTV interviews. Only other person who had an MTV interview at the time, and we looked the same. We both had the same glasses. We embodied that jail greens with the specs look.
Yeah.
It was only 2 people. 2 people.
That's interesting to me because I want to close this out and celebrate Capone N.Noreaga, but you can have a classic album and it not make you financially stable. People think once they get into hip hop and they start to sell records or they get a record deal that it's a life-changing situation and they don't have to work anymore or they don't have to do things outside of the music. He just explained to you that didn't nobody even know who he was after they dropped the War Report. It wasn't until the N.O.R.E. album that he became financially stable. And at that time, he was in jail. And it wasn't even financially stable. Let me correct myself. When the N.O.R.E. album came out, that's when people acknowledged that he was Capone. That's interesting. I listened to an interview as of recently with Zaytoven. He was talking about that he kept his barber job. You know, in the South, we know Zaytoven for hits with Gucci Mane. Creating So Icy with Gucci and Jeezy. A lot of the street hits that we love a lot. And he said he didn't stop doing his day job until the Migos did the song with Drake, Versace. He was in the game for a decade before that song was ever created. I just want to acknowledge that because I want to let young brothers know, don't stop doing you. Don't stop your craft. Continue on because music isn't a guarantee. Let me give Memphis Bleak, Capone N.Noreaga a round of applause. And, you know, especially Memphis Bleak because he's been a real one holding it down for a long time. Let's go.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.